There's a friend I lost the day I retired. His name was Dave, and for 20 years he was the closest thing I had to a brother, right up until the paycheck stopped, and so did he. Before I get into it, if this is the kind of honest talk you have been looking for, do an old man a favor and subscribe. It keeps these conversations going. Now let me tell you what happened, because you might be walking straight toward it yourself and not even know it. If you're retired, about to retire, or just wondering how your friendships hold up when the work stops, you already feel the question I'm about to answer. Who actually stays? You've probably got a name in your head right now, a person you're sure of. Hold on to that name. We'll get there. Dave and I met in a parking garage. That's it, not some grand story. A dim concrete garage under the building we both gave our best years to. Same floor, same elevator, and the same coffee run. Every single morning at 9:40 on the dot. You could set your watch by it. 2 paper cups, the burnt stuff from the machine down the hall, and about 4 minutes of complaining about the same boss who never once knew our names. That's how it starts, doesn't it? Proximity. You don't choose these people so much as you keep bumping into them. And after enough mornings, enough burnt coffee, enough eye rolls across a meeting table, something builds. It felt like a friendship. It felt like the real thing. And for a long, long time I'd have sworn it was. Because it wasn't just the coffee run. Dave and I talked every single day. Not once in a while. Every day. We ate lunch together more times than I could ever count. We took fishing trips, the two of us out on a quiet lake, before the sun was fully up, not saying much, and not needing to. We stood up at each other's kids' weddings. I was there, in a rented suit, when his daughter got married, and he was there for mine. And I remember thinking, this is one of the good ones. This is a man I'll grow old with. I was sure of that friendship the way you're sure of your own name. I never questioned it. Why would I? 20 years. You don't audit 20 years. You just trust it's there. Solid. Waiting. Like the ground. Under your feet. Then I retired. And here's the strange part. Nothing dramatic happened. There was no fight. No falling out. Nobody said a hard word. If there'd been a fight, at least I'd have understood it. A fight you can point to. This was quieter than that. The first month, we still texted. Same as always, more or less. A joke about the boss. A photo of a fish. A little less than before, maybe, but I didn't think anything of it. I figured he was busy. I figured I was just getting used to all this new quiet. By the second month, it was once a week. Then it was, hey, we should grab lunch, and neither of us ever picked a day. You know how that goes. The words are friendly. The follow-through just isn't there. And I want to be honest with you, because I promised you honest. I didn't notice it happening. That's the thing nobody tells you. It doesn't announce itself. There's no moment where the friendship ends. It just thins out. A little at a time, like a fog burning off, until one morning you look up and there's nothing where the thing used to be. I'd sit out on my porch with my coffee. 10 in the morning now, instead of 9:40. No rush, no meeting. And I'd wait for my phone to buzz on the kitchen counter. It didn't. Day after day, it just lay there, face up, quiet. At first, I told myself, that's fine. That's what stepping off the treadmill feels like. I'd been on that treadmill for 40 years, running the same loop, and now I was standing still for the first time, and standing still is loud in a way I never expected. But the phone stayed quiet. And after a while, quiet stops, feeling like peace, and starts feeling like something's missing. By the time I really noticed, the phone had gone quiet, and it stayed quiet. So one Tuesday, I finally called him myself just to catch up. And the moment he picked up, I heard something in his voice I wasn't ready for. So I called him. A Tuesday, mid-morning, just to catch up. And the second Dave picked up, I heard it. He was busy. He was still in it, still on the treadmill I'd stepped off of, still fighting the same fight 40 hours a week. And we had nothing to say to each other. That silence on the line told me something I did not want to hear. Let me walk you through that call, because it was almost nothing, and that was the whole point. I said, "Hey, it's been a while." He said, "Yeah, crazy busy. You know how it is." And the thing is, I didn't know how it was. Not anymore. He talked fast, the way you talk when there's a meeting in 10 minutes and your inbox is on fire. I heard a door close on his end. Somebody said his name in the background. He asked how retirement was treating me, and before I could really answer, he was already saying, "Listen, I gotta run. Let's grab lunch soon." We both knew there wouldn't be a lunch, and that was it. I set the phone down on the arm of my chair, real slow, and I just sat there for a minute. 20 years. 20 years of friendship, and we couldn't fill 3 minutes. That's not a fight. That's not somebody hurting you. That's just two men who suddenly had nothing in common but a past. Here's what started to dawn on me, sitting there. Take away the building, and there wasn't much left underneath. We never talked about the deep stuff. We talked about the boss, the deadlines, the guy in accounting who microwaved fish. Our whole friendship ran on the same tracks we ran on, every day. Pull us off those tracks, and where were we supposed to meet? So let me say the thing I finally understood, plain. A lot of what we call friendship is really just proximity. That's a hard one to swallow, especially about a man you'd have called your best friend the week before. But it's true. Dave and I weren't close because we chose each other. We were close because we were parked on the same floor of the same garage, drinking the same bad coffee, complaining about the same fight, the same building, 40 hours a week. Proximity did the work. We just called it brotherhood. Let me ask you something. How many years are you into retirement, or how many away? Leave a number in the comments. And if there's one friend you thought you'd keep and quietly lost, say his name. I read every one, because I know I'm not the only one who's been fooled by this. You spend decades next to someone. You share the parking garage, the lunches, the little inside jokes. And your heart files that away as love, when a lot of it was just the fact that you kept bumping into each other. It felt permanent, because it was daily. Then the daily stops, and you find out what was really holding it up. I won't lie to you about the ache. There were mornings, that fall, sitting on my porch with my coffee at 10 in the morning, a time I'd never once been home for in 40 years, when I'd catch myself glancing over at the phone, not even hoping really, just noticing that the thing that used to buzz all day had gone still. The yard was quiet, the coffee was warm, and the phone was not going to ring, not with Dave on the other end. And I want to be careful here, because it would be easy to make Dave the villain. He isn't. He didn't ghost me out of cruelty. He didn't decide I wasn't worth his time. He was just still on the treadmill, going the speed it makes you go. And when you're on that thing, you don't have a spare hour for a man who got off. I'd been on it too once, I'd let plenty of friendships slide the exact same way, and I never once felt like the bad guy. I felt busy. That's all he was. Busy. So the truth is, Dave didn't leave me. I left the building. I was the one who changed the terms. And the friendship couldn't survive that, because there'd never been enough underneath it to survive on. That's not a betrayal. That's just arithmetic. Painful arithmetic, but honest. And for a while, that empty space was just empty. Quiet porch, quiet phone, quiet late mornings I didn't know what to do with. But here's what I didn't expect. The quiet that Dave left behind didn't stay empty. In that silence, I started to see three people who had been standing right in front of me the whole time. And one of them had been the real friend all along, while I was busy being loyal to a man from the parking garage. My brother, who I'd taken for granted, was the first one I really saw. We grew up in the same house, and somehow I'd let a man from a parking garage take the spot my own brother should have had. He never made a thing of it. He'd just call every couple of weeks, same as always, ask how I was, tell me about the trout he almost caught. I used to half listen. Now, I sit on the front step with him, and I listen to the whole story, even the part where the fish gets away every single time. 40 years I'd overlooked him. He was there, the whole 40. Then there was a neighbor who actually knocked, not texted, not liked something on a screen. Knocked on the door in the middle of a Tuesday afternoon because he'd made too much chili and figured we could use some. I didn't even know his last name back then. I know it now. His name is Ray, and Ray knocks for no reason at all, which turns out to be the best reason there is. And then there was my wife, who had been the real friend all along. That one took me the longest to admit, and it's the one that shames me a little. While I was busy being loyal to Dave, driving out for lunches, standing up at his kid's wedding, my wife was right there at the kitchen table every single morning. The real friend, the one who never once needed a shared office or a shared paycheck to keep showing up. I'd been pouring my best attention into a friendship built on a coffee run, and missing the woman whose hand was already resting next to mine over the coffee at 10 in the morning. Let that sit for a second. Here's the thing I finally understood, and I want to say it plainly. Losing Dave didn't teach me that friendship is fragile. That's the easy lesson, the sad one, and it's not the true one. Dave and I weren't fragile. We just weren't much of anything once the building was gone. The real lesson was quieter and harder. The ones who stay when there's nothing left to gain, no shared office, no shared paycheck, no boss to complain about. Those are the real ones. My brother had nothing to gain. Ray had nothing to gain but an empty chili pot. My wife had been getting nothing but my leftovers for years. And every one of them stayed. That's what the silence taught me. The phone stopped ringing with Dave's name on it, and for a while that ache sat in my chest like a stone. But when it went quiet, I could finally hear the people who'd been talking to me all along. Now, here's where the lesson turns into a bill that comes due. Because if those are the real ones, then they deserve far more of you than you've been giving them. I know I was giving mine the scraps, the tired end of the day, the half-listen. I was saving my energy for a man who only called back when it was convenient, and handing what was left to the people who'd never leave. That's backwards. I had it exactly backwards for 20 years. So let me say something to the one of you who's afraid of this. Afraid that when the work stops, the quiet will leave you lonely. That the empty calendar and the silent phone mean the good part of your life is behind you. Don't be afraid of that. I mean it. The quiet after work won't empty your life. It'll do the opposite. It'll clear away everything that was only ever there because of the building, and it'll show you, plain as day, who was truly in it. Proximity fades on its own. What's left standing after it fades, that was always the real thing. And once you can see them, once the noise dies down and the faces come into focus, there's only one thing to do with that clarity. Use it. So, go call the one who stayed. Not tomorrow. Today. The brother you've been half listening to, the neighbor who knocks, the person sitting across the kitchen table from you right now. Tell them plainly what they mean to you. I promise it will matter more than you think. We don't say these things out loud because we assume there's always more time, and then one Tuesday we notice the phone's gone quiet and the chance went with it. Don't wait for the quiet to teach you. Beat it to the punch. I make that call now. I dial my brother, I dial Ray, and mostly I just turn my chair a little closer to my wife's, out on the porch at sunset, 2 seats pulled together. And I say the thing I should have said years ago. Because here's what all of this came down to, the whole long lesson of losing Dave. It wasn't the loss. It was what the loss uncovered. That's the part nobody warned me about, and it turned out to be the best part.